edit that part out, like the beginning where you sit down?
All right.
No, do you?
It depends. Last week I couldn't
Okay.
because it was just being dumb.
Hey everybody, this is Scranton MMA Talks. This is Frank.
I'm Jess,
This is Tyler.
and this week we're going to talk about our expectations of a Jiu Jitsu blue belt at Scranton MMA.
Yeah.
So
real
sorry.
quick, usually I know, especially newer people ask, like, give or take, how long does it take for somebody to go from day one white belt to blue belt at Scranton MMA?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it takes usually a good 1.5 years, 2 years on average.
Yeah, because usually we do the stripe tests every 6 months. And if you get one stripe every 6 months, that's about 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, you could get 2 stripes at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
So, it
So,
depends.
on average, from day one to blue belt, 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Right. So our first expectation that we want people to know, we want our blue belts to know our beginner curriculum. Know all the names of the techniques. You know, if I do like a bump sweep, I want you to know that was a bump sweep, and I want you to know how to be able to perform that bump sweep. Whereas a white belt, we want you to be able to like recall the names, but you don't really have to get them down like perfectly.
Yeah.
A blue belt should be able to perform that sufficiently.
Especially as you're progressing through your blue belt. Maybe not the first day you get your blue belt, but you should be able to understand why I'm doing an arm bar instead of a triangle, and be able to perform it in a live scenario with people at your skill level, around your skill level. I'm not asking you to armbar Tyler, but I'm asking you to be able to armbar other blue belts, even white belts, in a live scenario. I think that's more than fair as you progress through in it. I think that's something that you should be focusing on, of the whys, like, why am I playing, why do I go for a scissor sweep instead of a cross collar choke?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think blue belt just kind of, you show that you grasp all the basics and the foundations of jiu-jitsu, which then carry over into everything else that we end up doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that blue belts are going in knowing our beginner curriculum, which, like I said, I think that's all your basics and foundation to get started, really.
And to build off of that, another thing that we want our blue belts to know is to be able to like recognize and recall our intermediate and some advanced moves. I know some stuff that Frank shows, it's like super out there because he's always pulling, new stuff in for the advanced class. But I would say definitely be able to recognize those intermediate techniques.
Yeah.
And again, not, being able to like, perform them perfectly every round against every person, but just knowing that that's what you're going for and why you're going for it.
Especially at blue belt, you should know the different guards. Like, if I tell any blue belt on our mats, hey, X guard, they'll have a very good idea what X guard is. They might not be able to perform X guard. Maybe that's not a guard that they like to focus on, but I would say all our blue belts will be able to go, all right, I kind of know what X guard is, like,
At least,
they might not be able to teach it, but they would be able to recognize it if we have a lineup of different guards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember when, like, you first started showing some of that stuff. For myself, I think I was a blue belt at the time. You just started showing single leg X. I didn't use it for the longest time. Like, it was something that learned it. I was like, this is cool and everything, but it wasn't something I didn't really start using until I got further into blue belt and everything. So
yeah. Another thing is being able to know which techniques work for you and like work for not just your body type, but like your game, and being able to put a game plan together and like putting that into your rounds. And even if, even if like, 1 month it's this and then the next month it's another thing, but just having like a good idea of what you're working on and putting that into place.
So You'll hear me tell, if you're an advanced student, blue belt or higher, you'll hear me talk about styles quite a bit. Like, oh, that goes well with your style. Switch up your style. Do a different style. Um, that's super important to start figuring out your style as a blue belt. You know, I'm not saying have it definitely locked in, and when we get to purple belt, we'll really talk about understanding your style depending on your body type and the way you like to move. Sorry, I had a burp.
It's that Black Rifle. You got to get that clean Dunkin' coffee.
Nope, Black Rifle
Yeah.
Coffee Company. The iced coffee is fantastic. Espresso with cream is what I like to
Much
go
better
for.
than Dunkin'.
Much better than Dunkin'.
Neither of these are sponsored, so we're just giving both companies
Send a check.
free. Send the check.
But you should start being able to understand, like, oh, I'm taller and skinnier. Okay, I really need to start working on keeping people away from me, being able to use my length. Maybe you're shorter and heavier. All right, you have to start being able to show, like, you could efficiently apply pressure. Because, you know, if you're so big, it's very easy to apply pressure, but at an efficient level, being able to, like, instead of just trying to lay on someone, but really use your weight to open up passes or whatnot and to get underneath them if you're shorter. I want to see that. Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, you should have, like, if you're shorter, you should have, like, this X-guard style. No, but just being able to use your physical attributes to your advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'd say, like, I'm kind of, like, taller, but I do like to sort of, like, get in there and, like, crush and be, like, heavier and tighter. So it's, like, not necessarily your body type, but it's, like, what you find works for you.
And I think that's, and I kind of wanted to talk about this in the last topic, but it kind of works well here, is that's why you should practice, especially, the thing that I wouldn't say I cringe at, but definitely I try to go, is some people will, like, at a super low level be like, I want to do X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, get your good foundations, get your understanding of stuff, and then once you play around with it, you know, you might be shorter, but hey, maybe reverse De La Riva is better for you. You might be taller, maybe applying pressure is better. That's when you get to, like, really figure out, like, all right, you know, like, try a little bit of everything and then see what sticks and then start focusing on what sticks against the wall,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. No, that all makes a lot of sense, you know. I think it's important at Blue Belt to start seeing the different styles there are,
Yes.
you know, and then gradually work towards a style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that plays well into our next point, is being able to see your openings and attempting more. I wrote just submissions, but not even just submissions, but attempting, like, sweeps or passes.
More offense.
Yeah, from different places.
Yeah, I think we all, as white belts, would just get crushed, right?
Yeah.
And you get to work your defense really, really well as a white belt because you're usually in bad spots. But as a blue belt, if you follow the blueprint that we're kind of giving you, you should or have already had a good defense by now, right? And if you don't, start working on it. But you should have a good defense by now. And then it's so much easier to work your offense. It's, you know,
You could bring yourself out of those bad situations and then work what you want to work.
Yep. And that'll help your training so much more. And we did talk a little bit about that aspect as a white belt working your defense. But now as a blue belt, you should be able to, I should start seeing you chain submissions, not just go for, hey, let me go for this arm bar. Oh, he doesn't get it. I have nothing else. Starting to be able to chain positions as well. Like, instead of just sitting there inside control and waiting for them to give you an Americana, maybe be able to transition a mount, go for a choke, they defend, disengage, go back to side control, then attack the Americana. That's something I think as a blue belt, you should really start working on is chaining stuff.
Yeah, that goes right in with what I kind of wanted to say about this. Is in my opinion, kind of blue belt is just a better white belt. You know,
Yeah.
you're still
That's
absorbing
true.
a lot of information. You're still trying a lot of different techniques and everything. So the only way to get better at that stuff is to simply try stuff. So you have to sometimes make a mistake, but you learn off that mistake, right? So if I go for a triangle and they defend, well, off of their defense, what can I do off of that? You know, and that goes for any position. I just use that as an example. But start to chain things together, like you said, and just, you know, go for it. You know, you won't find out until you start trying things more, basically.
And
True.
I really like that quote, that saying that Tyler just said is, blue belt is just a better white belt. And I think that's why you hear so often with the blue belt blues, people getting it, because they're blue belt, they're expecting, yes, I'm
I've
the
got
next.
the colors now, like I'm in.
Yeah, but in actuality, it really is just a better white belt.
You're gonna, get your blue belt, and there's gonna be a white belt still, like a 4-stripe white belt that's right behind you.
Yep.
And could probably still catch you. Don't get like overly discouraged by that, because you beat them by like maybe a month or something, like just a month more of training or whatever it is. It's it really doesn't matter. Like, we're not keeping track or anything like that.
I think that goes with all ranks. I think
Yeah.
there's a certain thing with all of our egos where it's like, I don't want to get tapped out by a lower rank. And I mean, it's very easy to say that shouldn't bother you, right? But it shouldn't bother you.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you are trying to get better at Jiu Jitsu. You're trying different things. That's how you get better at Jiu Jitsu. To a degree. Some people might take what I just said there and be like, oh, so I'm going to try a different move before I get my foundations, which isn't what I'm saying. You already have your foundations as a blue belt. Now you're going to be trying different styles, different moves. Expect to lose.
Yeah.
If all I ever did was close guard and I want to work open guards, guess what? My open guard's going to get passed, you know?
You're almost like back to white belt. You're like an open guard white belt.
Yeah.
So then, like, you could get your guard passed by a white belt.
Yep.
In theory.
Yeah,
So.
you're learning a brand new set of techniques.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a learning curve to this stuff. So that's why just absorb as much information as you can and continuously try to work to get better at it.
Don't look at rounds as winners or losses. We're all training. I get if you're competing, yes, those are wins and losses. And to a degree, you shouldn't look at it like that, but it's a competition. It's different, though. Competitions do help you get better, and you should look to get better through competing. But especially at the gym, it's not, some people be like, I tapped out this person and that person. And it's like, I don't care about that. What did you learn today?
Yeah.
What can you take out of those taps? Or, I got tapped out by this person and that person. It's, no. What did you learn? What mistakes did you learn? We're all training partners. We're not competing with one another. We have a very lax gym where we do like to bust chops, and we
have fun with it.
We have fun with it. But at the end of the day, if Tyler catches me in a triangle, I'm not like, Tyler got me in a triangle. I stop Tyler and I go, Tyler, show me what I did wrong to get caught in this triangle, first of all. And then second of all, what can I do to defend against that triangle better? I went for this defense. It didn't work on Tyler. All right, do you mind put me back in the triangle? Let me try a different defense. Oh, he catches me with that one. Okay. All right, let me go for another defense. You shouldn't look as your training part. It's literally in the name, training partner. It's not training opponent. It's a training partner. We're both here to get better at what we're training for. You know what I mean? And in this case, it's jiu-jitsu, but it goes well with all our martial arts, with judo, striking, MMA. You're not fighting that person inside the gym. It's a training session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to follow up with one of your points there, with the training partners, I thought you explained that really well. I just want to add one thing is that when you're a blue belt, it's still okay to ask questions.
Yes.
Just like you said there, you get caught in something, ask how they got it, and
I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, and go from there. So especially during the Q&A portions of classes, or even after your round, whenever, ask a question, figure out where you were at, what went wrong, or what went right, and just build on that. So, because you're still not expected to know everything.
Yeah.
So, ask questions.
Even at the higher ranks, the two people that ask me the most questions are these two.
Ew.
Like, I'm always asking Dom questions, and we're drilling certain positions if it's figuring it out and stuff like that. You need to always ask questions. We're here, I've been training for almost 15 years now. Tyler's been training for
just a little over 11.
11
like
years.
that.
Jess has been
It's
training
like the same.
So we've got, just between the three of us, over 30 years of experience. Use us as the shortcuts. You should get to where I'm at in maybe 3/4 of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you should be where I'm at maybe at 10 years worth of training, And use us as that shortcut. Like, we went through the long road of figuring stuff out, Maybe we have a shortcut. And maybe even if the answer we give you is not necessarily suited for your style, when we talk about, I know all three of us, and then Dom too, like, when he answers a question, he explains maybe, like, how do you get out of, let's say, this De La Riva? We talk about what we're focusing on, and then it's not necessarily, oh, well, Frank did a cut pass to get out of De La Riva. I don't really do cut passes. I like over-unders. All right, well, how I got out of the De La Riva hooks, how I fought the grip, that's the majority of how to get out of De La Riva.
Yeah.
It's not the actual cut pass, That's just the most obvious answer of how to get out of it. But the real thing is, how do I grip? How do I shut down? What am I looking to defend first,
Yeah.
And that's where you need to take what we say. And then if you have to do a little couple tweaks for your game of what you excel at, do it, We all use, when we're teaching a class, especially the advanced classes, we all use other people's stuff. So, like, this morning, I went over like a bunch of different rolling back truck stuff. I got that from a Gio Martinez DVD. Now, did I take everything word for word? No. I looked at his concepts and his ideas, and I applied my own concepts and my own ideas, added my flavor to it.
And we even watched students all kind of do the same thing and change it up from what Gio does.
Yeah.
And everybody sort of like picked up on it and like made it better. So.
And that's being able to implement your style. Style, it's such a hard definition to say. Like, what is your style of jiu-jitsu? It's like, essentially, it's like trying to describe the essence of something. It's very, very hard to describe. What's the essence of jiu-jitsu? What's the essence of whatever this is,
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, but hopefully that helps. Even though we're not talking about style right now, it helps you understand what we mean by style.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty much all we got for this video.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. We're getting up there on time, so and we got people walking in, so I think we're gonna end this one, and next time we'll talk about purple belt stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.
Black.